All right, so we are going to go ahead and talk about laundry care. And at the end of this, I would like you guys to understand the 5 steps to complete laundry. And I also would like you to be able to say that you can complete a load of laundry by yourself. And so after this, we will talk more about what our at home laundry assignment will look like. So this is our learning goals and scales, and this is kind of where I want you to be at, how we're going to get there, and all that fun stuff. All right, so breaking it down, how to do laundry. There's 5 different steps that I want you guys to pay attention to. The first one, before you even start doing laundry, you need to gather all your materials. So what that might be, we'll talk about in a little bit. The second step is we need to separate and evaluate our clothes. We need to talk about the different colors. We'll talk about if there's any stains. The third step is to wash your clothes, put it in the washing machine. Fourth one, to dry them. And then the fifth one, to fold and then put away. So we'll break down each of those steps a little bit further. So first one, gather your materials. If you do not have a washing machine or a drying machine at your house, then you will need quarters because you'll have to go to a laundromat, and that is where you'll have to pay money to do that. So you'll have to get quarters. Typically, a load will cost between 75 cents to $1.75 sorry. And sometimes the dryers don't always work the best, so sometimes they will take more quarters. You will also need detergent. Now, if we look at detergent, when you go to the store, you'll see 2 different kinds. The first one is in a bottle, and that's liquid detergent. And then there's also one that is a powder, and so that one is in a box. And so if you're trying to decide between the two, whether the liquid or the powder detergent, there's really no difference. The liquid may be less messy, but sometimes it's a little bit more expensive. And then make sure when you're selecting a detergent that you are keeping in mind if you have any allergies. So like as an example, I have a friend who is her skin is very sensitive to different scents that come in laundry detergents. And so she always has to get like the Tide Free and Gentle. So it doesn't have any extra scents in there that will irritate her skin. So if that's you, make sure you, check out the detergents, and your parents will probably already have done that for you, but you don't want an allergic reaction, so to avoid that. All right, another thing that we want to think about is bleach. Bleach is only used to make your whites brighter. So whites, that means your white clothing, your white t-shirt, your white jeans, whatever it may be. You don't want to put bleach in with your coloreds because it will turn them white, or it will bleach them a lighter shade than what they should be. They now have color safe bleaching action in some detergents. See if that's something that would be good for you. But at the end of the day, if you are just washing a load of colors, you should not be adding in bleach. Which bleach is the best? The Consumer Reports found that Tide with bleach alternative came in at first, and then Cheer and Arm & Hammer came in second and third. So if you're interested and like, oh, I want to go get bleach for my white jeans, that could be maybe your first spot that you check out. We also have fabric softener. When I grew up, I always had the Bounce, just dryer sheets that we used, but there is liquid fabric softener as well. So what is it? Fabric softener will help eliminate the static cling to your clothes. So if you have ever done a load of laundry, or if your parents have ever done a load of laundry without fabric softener, your clothes can be a little bit more staticky. It also makes them nice and soft, and they smell good. There's 2 different forms of fabric softener. So the first one is liquid, and this is added during the wash cycle. So you add it in addition to your laundry detergent. And then you also have the fabric softener sheet or dryer sheet, and that is added during the dry cycle. So you do not want to add it while you're washing your clothes, just when you dry them. Please note that liquid fabric softener is different from liquid detergent, like I just mentioned. So if you use this form of softener, you must also use detergent. So let's say if you use Downy fabric softener, the liquid kind, you would also add in, let's say you use Tide laundry detergent, you would put both of those in when you wash your clothes. All right, and then the last thing you need to grab, a laundry basket. If you're classy, you can buy a plastic heavy-duty basket or a nice drawstring bag. But if you're not, a pillowcase will work just fine as well. Something to just hold your clothes together so they don't fall all over the place. All right, on to step 2. You're going to separate and evaluate your clothes. So looking at your clothes and what different stains might be on there and separating them by color is super important before you put them into the laundry. Also, you need to evaluate your dirty clothes to see how many loads should be done. You can't just put a whole bunch of clothes in the laundry machine. They're not all going to fit. So you have to kind of see how much will fit in the laundry machine so that we're able to keep the right amount in there. So prepare. Evaluate your dirty clothes, see how many loads should be done, and then separate your clothes by color. Here's our clothes by color that we're looking at. So we have our whites that we talked briefly about earlier when we were talking about bleach. So that could be your basic t-shirts, your white socks, sheets, pillowcases, or other plain white clothing or linens. And then you have your lights, and so that could be a pastel shirt or maybe a white striped shirt or pattern whites. But basically an item that is white with enough color to make you think that it doesn't really fit in with the whites. Like, well, I have this white t-shirt, but this logo is very large on the front and I wouldn't feel safe putting it with the whites. If you're kind of questioning that, then it would be a light. And then we also have darks, and so that could be dark socks, shirts, jeans, dark pants, and then if you have newly dark clothing, that should be washed alone first. And that's typically because sometimes the dyes that are in the clothing to make it a certain color can come out in the wash. And so if you wash it with other clothes, then your other clothes might also get to be that color as well. And then our last group is delicates. And so that could be wool garments, sweaters, satin, undergarments. These things can be washed in a machine, but hand washing is usually better. But you definitely don't want to mix delicates with, let's say, like a load of towels, because those are going to be kind of aggressive, rubbing up against your delicate clothing. So, why do we separate our clothes? Separating helps protect the color and the durability of your garment. And should an accident occur, the damage cannot be undone. So, as I mentioned before, you wouldn't want to, when you wash your clothes, let's say a new garment, a new colored one at first, you should do it by yourself or by itself. And it's that same idea. Think about it like what would happen if a red sock got mixed into the white towels, right? Those white towels might turn a little bit of a pink color. And so that cannot be undone if that happens. A good tip on how to wash your clothes is to look at the care labels. Sometimes you might think, oh, this t-shirt is fine, I can just put it with all the darks, but really you should be having it with the delicates. So just go ahead and look at that and it will tell you how to wash your clothes and how to wash that specific garment. All right, now what are we going to evaluate on our clothes? Big one, check to see if the pockets are empty. I have put laundry in the washing machine before when I had gum, like a stick of gum in my pocket, or if I had a piece of paper in my pocket. That's going to get all wet and then messed up, and then you put it in the dryer and it gets hot, and so your clothes can get wrecked that way. So check the pockets to make sure that they are empty. Another big one is zippers. Make sure that you put the zippers up. I have also put in a pair of jeans into the washing machine, and I have cut up one of my shirts because my shirts got snagged on the zipper and then it got wrecked. So make sure you zip up your any zippers, whether that's a sweatshirt, whether it's jeans, whatever it may be. And then for your hoodies or it could maybe be like a pair of shorts, make sure to tie the strings, because otherwise they might get either lost in the washing machine or they might tangle into something else. So make sure you tie them up, that way you don't have to lose them. Third step, we are going to wash our clothes. One might say that it is the easy part. So first thing we want to do is pre-treat any visible stains. So if you have a grass stain on your shirt, or if you have a marker stain, or if you spilt some jelly on your shirt, make sure you pre-treat those with some sort of a stain remover, which we will do a stain lab later on. And then select your cycle and add your detergent to the machine. And if you're going to use fabric softener, like we talked about earlier, you will also add, if you have a liquid one, you will add that at that time as well. Okay, so when we set our washing machine, every washing machine is a little bit different. So check with your parents on how to use yours the correct way. Some require you to set the temperature of the water, and then others ask you to set a cycle. And so they might have a hot cycle, a warm or permanent press cycle, a delicate or a cold cycle. So for whites, you should do a hot cycle. For lights and darks, you should use a warm or permanent press cycle. And then delicates, you should either do the delicate or cold cycle. And usually that cycle is really short, and it's a little bit more gentle on your clothing. So we have whites for hot, lights and darks, warm or permanent press, and then delicates is either delicate or cold. So, last few tips. When in doubt, read the care label. That's on that specific article of clothing, whether it's jeans or a shirt or a sweatshirt. Just read that care label if you have any questions. A typical wash cycle takes about 25 to 40 minutes. Two problems that arise: you can overload the machine, which results in some of your clothes might get wrecked if it's too full. Some of your clothes might not get clean if it's too full. So make sure you fill the washing machine about halfway to 3/4 full. And so that will differ depending on what kind of washing machine you have. So that will also help you determine how your load size or how many articles of clothing you can put in there. So make sure to check that out. And then you never want to use too much detergent, as you can see in that picture below. It can overflow with a bunch of bubbles, a bunch of soap. So only use the full amount if you have a full load. So if you have a smaller load, like let's say you don't have enough clothes, where you do one full load of laundry, but then you also have like a couple articles of clothing left over that you have to run a load of laundry for, that one would just need a smaller amount of laundry detergent. So use your judgment on that, to use the full amount for a full load and then less for a smaller load. Step 4, this is onto drying. Now, this is super important. If you guys see the picture in the top right corner, you need to clean the lint filter. If you do not clean the lint filter, it can lead to serious issues. Sometimes it could start a fire with your drying machine. So the air, the lint filter is kind of like that barrier for the air to circulate into the dryer machine, but also to prevent the lint coming off your clothes going into the air. So it kind of catches all that stuff, and so you want to throw that away after every single load that you do. Also, on to the next bullet point, when you are doing your drying of your clothes, you need to add fabric softener or your dryer sheets. Unload the clothes from the washer and shake them out a little bit, and this is the time that you can inspect stains. So if let's say you did a pre-treatment, you put a little stain remover on your white t-shirt that you spilt jelly on. Let's say it didn't really come out, then you'll want to re-wash that shirt and try doing another little stain remover test on it. Because once you put it in the dryer, that heat in the dryer will just bake that stain in, and then it's a lot harder to come out. So check out the stains and then put all the clothes into the drying machine. So, more drying, overloading, why this is a problem. Most cycles last about 30 to 40 minutes. Jeans and towels take longer, and that's just because they're a little bit thicker, a little bit more dense, and just how the fabric holds the water in. So they're going to take a little bit longer. And then take light cotton items out early to avoid wrinkles. So these might be like your t-shirts, your sports t-shirts, whatever it may be. How it's light and it's cotton, they'll get wrinkly very easily if you don't take them out a little bit earlier. If you dry it for too long, that can result in shrinking, and you do not want your clothes to shrink. And then your delicates, so your wool items, undergarments, things like that, hang those up to dry. It helps them to maintain their shape, and so they don't shrink or get wrecked in the drying machine. All right, so the last step is to fold the laundry. When you fold the laundry, you take the laundry out of the dryer, you should fold it immediately. Don't let it sit in the laundry basket or in your pillowcase, because that's when it gets to be really wrinkly. So fold it right away. And then if you have any sweaters, don't hang them. They're going to lose their shape, and then they start to take form of the hanger. And so you might start to experience little divots by your shoulders where the hanger has been, and so then you try and put your sweater on, and then it kind of like just sticks up on your shoulder and it kind of looks weird. So don't hang your sweaters, but you should hang button-down shirts or any shirts that should be like nice and straight. If you try and fold those types of shirts, they're going to get little creases wherever you have folded them. So those ones are good to hang. This last one? There we go. So final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. This is a little bit different because we are doing this during distance learning. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can go ahead and send those my way via email, and I would be happy to help you out.